Welcome to the Living Hope.
Hey Stefan, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good, and you?
I am well, thank you, and I am happy to be able to sit and talk to you. It was not planned for me to with you today. Brandon was going to, but I am looking forward to getting to know you a lot better. I've had the chance to sit with your sister and your brother-in-laws, so I'm excited to learn about Stefan. So, what was it like growing up with Asher and your dad, and what was life like? I know you were already surrounded with Jesus
Mhm.
because your granddad, who's also a pastor also.
Yeah.
So yeah, what was it like growing up?
All right, let's start with Asha. I think people view siblings in certain like you have sibling rivalries, whatnot. I think me and Asha, we had moments where we either liked each other or there are times where we didn't like each other. I think that's it for most siblings. You get along a lot of time, then other times you don't get along. Um, I I would say we were pretty tight.
Yeah.
Even now it's like okay. I I won't necessarily say, oh yeah, I like my sister like that sort of way. But I remember when she went overseas by herself, well, technically by herself, because I didn't go and my parents didn't go, for the first time, and it was like,
You missed it?
I miss my Asha. Apparently that's what it is.
Did you cry as well?
I don't remember. I think I did.
Aw.
I think I did. And then I remember when it was, I had a little surgery when I was younger, and it was, I guess I was on medication. I was like, oh, I want Asha. And I was like,
Aw,
that's not natural for me, but we had that connection. And then when I got sick, she's always there. So yeah, I would say we were pretty close. Growing up, we had our times against each other, but when she was still living at home, there were many times like, okay, I can't sleep, I'm going to her room.
Oh, that is so sweet.
She did not like it. She did not like it. But I was like, okay, that's all right. She'll keep me up in the morning, that's fine. But there's a lot of comfort. Even when she left and she got married, I moved into her room. She didn't like that either. But I moved into her room, so I'd say we're still pretty close. She doesn't live at home. I was always joke that, oh, you're a visitor, but she can always come home, you know. I like when she's over. Yeah, we pretty cool.
Was it like a forced closeness where your parent just kind of like arranged things or told you all that you had to like be good, close to each other, that kind of thing? Or was it
Not
just
really. Yes and no in a sense. I'll get to the yes after the no. The no is that we just used to be around all together. We went to the same schools
Okay.
all together. And we're 3 years apart. So I was the annoying little brother. She didn't really want me around her friends, and that's fine because that's growing up. But other than that, we go places together. We're close family, so we always kind of connected that way. I would say yes would be in how we had to share a birthday party 1 year. That was not fun. It was fun for me in a sense because my friends are over. You know, I think I was 9. I was probably 9 or 10. So for me, it's not a big deal. But I think if I was 10, she's going 13. She wants her own thing. The worst thing, they had a cake with our faces on it.
Oh.
So I was like, no, I want to cut this part. Oh, you can't cut my face. So yeah, or if we're getting gifts, it's like, okay, y'all can share a computer. No. No. So, but in that sense, I would say yes, that's where the forced closeness came in. But other than that, it was natural. When I went to Corjampari, she got transferred to Corjampari.
So this is secondary school years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she went to St. James.
Okay.
And I went to Corjampari. When I got into Corjampari, she got transferred immediately to come to Corjampari. Okay. So we were having that new experience together. I was bullied a lot. I'm small, I talk a lot. People think I'm annoying, so I was bullied a lot. She was always there. Yeah, so we had that closeness. Even playing video games is like, oh, we had a rule. If you're charging it, you can't attack. Yeah. So, or Need for Speed, she was better than me most times. So we had that connection, and even to this day, there's some things that we still share. That cool. Right now, we want to get into Lego. She likes Lego, I like Lego. So yeah, I think we find activities that keep us connected. If I have a problem, I'm probably gonna message her before I message my parents. She was actually overseas one time. My parents were also overseas, but she didn't know that. She didn't know that because we were going to surprise her. And I would message her like, "Oh, this going on, that going on. Auntie Joanna don't want to give me this, or I want to borrow the car and this." So I'll talk to her before I talk to other people.
That's good. It's good to know that y'all are so close to each other.
Yeah.
Especially since that she left being married. So one would think that the relationship would change, the dynamic would change so much that there would be a separation. But I think it's really good that you have someone in your life that is close to you, that you grew up with, that knows you from the time that you were born, that you're really close to, and that you find comfort in.
Yeah.
And so what was it like growing up in a house where your dad and your mom did ministry for, I would say, all of your life?
Yeah, all my life.
And
I came and they were doing that.
yeah, and so like he's a pastor, your granddad was a pastor as well. So you knew Jesus.
Yeah.
You knew of Jesus, you knew of God. But what was it like being in that, like growing up then?
Growing up, you're always in church. You go to church Sunday morning, Sunday night there's some sort of service. You probably there, or sometimes you don't even leave. You go to church in the morning at convention, and then you have lunch or whatever in the area, and then you go to church in the night. If there's service on Tuesday or Wednesday, you go, and then Friday night is youth. So you kind of were in that environment, and then it's a little bit more pressure as a pastor's child. Everybody expect some level of perfection from you. They expect you to be all churchy. You can't do this, you can't do that. Well, my parents didn't really put that pressure on me, but I kind of still felt it from around everybody else. I struggle with talking with people about life because it's like, okay, who's gonna judge me based on like my father or whatnot? The environment at home is pretty cool because my parents believe you have your own life. You gotta make your own path. We can only direct you. We have rules in this house, but other than that, is like you're your own person. You gotta make your own mistakes. We made ours. Just remember where you came from. That's kind of the story.
Did the pressure that you felt from those outside of your home, and I think it's great that you had that safe space. Your parents created that safe space for you. Did you feel like that deterred or influenced, I should say, your relationship with God?
I am not 100% sure if it is much of an influence or a deterrent. It's hard to kind of understand how it impacted me in that sense. I grew up kind of, you know God, you pray, whatever. I think when I was younger, I felt I was way more connected than now. I guess experiences, you change, you go through life, and you're no wondering, you don't have all the knowledge of everything. It's like, okay, why is this happening? Yeah, I know a lot of people pray for me and stuff. I had problems from young, so it was always a case of there's always that environment of prayer. There's always that environment of, God will help you, and always that message. Not just in the churches that my father was at, but sometimes on weekends we'll go to church with my grandfather. That was interesting at times.
Or was it interesting?
It's a different experience.
Okay.
So a lot of older people in that church. You go there, there's your grandmother, and then there's people older than your grandmother. It's like, okay, where's the youth? The youth were minimal, but there were a few. And in that church is also different because when they sing a song, they're singing that song for 15 minutes. They're going to sing it fast, they're going to sing it slow, and then when you think the song's over, they're singing it again.
So church was like 4 hours long?
Oh, it was long. As a child, it felt like it was forever, and you're just hungry. And then I learned how to play drums, so okay, I have something to do. I play drums in the church, which just may surprise people. Drums was my first instrument. I no longer can play drums. But we moved from that, and then you go to the church I was at the time. I mostly remember bits of St. John. St. John was different. I don't recall everything. I was very young, and then the church did burn down, and then we were moving. We tried going different churches, and then we settled at KFL. I remember KFL a lot. KFL was different. There are different pastors. There's some you like more than others because less big words. I mean, I was probably 12, 13. So and then there is the way some people preach. So if it's not upbeat or you're not connecting, it's just like, okay, we're just reading and I'm just going to tune out. I find a lot of church was that for me. It's like, I am only here because I kind of have no choice. I'm tuning out. It's like, okay, how was church? I can't tell you. I can't tell you what he preached about. And then moving to Harvest is different because like, oh, okay, now I kind of understand. We do it, instead of it topical, we do it expository. So,
and church is only like an hour and a half.
Yeah, church is 90 minutes, so that's great. So there are different stages of church for me, different environments, and growing up, I would say Harvest is the best experience for church for me. But other than that, I enjoyed KFO because with KFO you had Sunday school. You go to Sunday school and then you come in big people church and say, okay. And then church is over. It was more about the connections, the friends and whatever. And you get to share stories. You get to hear about people's lives. But I don't think I have the closeness of connection that I rely on the outside people because I still have that idea of, yeah, people kind of judge you in a sense. And that might only be on my side. I don't know if there are people that would judge me. But I know there is this saying that there are two types of pastors' children. You're either the worst or you're the best. But they don't talk about the in-between. They don't talk about the people like me that like, okay, I'm not the worst and I'm not the best. I have my own struggles. I don't necessarily talk about it because it's like, who's looking? Who's gonna perceive or who's gonna say this or that? So in my approach, I just, that part of my life, I guess I keep reserved.
Got you.
Yeah.
But would you mind if we kind of chat a bit about those struggles? Because I have a feeling like I might be able to identify with some of the struggles that you may have dealt with, you're still dealing with. Someone else may as well. So what kind of struggles are they?
Not just with people, but I have a problem with asking. I don't like asking for things. I don't like having, I don't mind if people want help. That's fine. So it's not, I don't mind relying on others. I don't like asking.
Why is that?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It just bothers me. So if I ask and your answer to it is, did you try this or that? It's like, if I'm asking you, yes, I've already done all I can and there's nothing more I can do. That's why I'm asking. So I kind of have to connect more and let people know if I ask you is because I really am asking and it's not of I'm lazy. When I got sick, I have now learned that I need to rely on people more. I've lost strength, I struggle, so even sometimes I can't open bottles. And I'm like,
what are you sick with?
Pardon?
What illness?
Oh, I have Still's disease. It's an arthritic disease, but it's rare. It affects the joints. It affects more than the joints. Now it has a new effect to it with itching and whatnot. So many stages of it. But I would find sometimes, especially including losing weight, I've lost a lot of weight. That was a journey in itself. But I'm not able to do many things that I could do before. and it's always hard to ask for help. So I'm like, I need some help. And sometimes the response is, show me that you can't get it done. I don't want to show you I can't get it done. I've already tried and I couldn't get it done. Just help me. So I kind of translate that also in like prayer. I don't necessarily asking. So for me, prayer is hard because, well, not all prayer is asking something. It can be thankful, whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't pray a lot because most prayers are me needing to ask for something. So I tend to not ask. I just tend to trudge through the trenches. It's like, if at that point and I have to ask, it's like, okay, please. But I really don't like asking. And I'm trying to work on it. But it's still very hard to kind of break the idea of asking.
And is that why you say when you're a lot younger, your connection with God was a lot different then as opposed to now?
I was more open to asking when I was younger. When I was younger, it was all like, yeah, this and that. And I prayed a lot more when I was younger. It's like, I could probably remember some of the prayers now that I'm thinking back on it. It's like, because when you're younger, you have set prayers. You say, okay, you start this way, and then you list this, you list that, you list that. So it's kind of routine. Oh, but those are genuine. So it wasn't like, oh, I just doing this as a ritual. Those are genuine. Like, oh, I pray for my friends, and you list them by names. I pray for my grandmother and both grandmothers, and that was it. You had that. And then for me, as I grew up, it's like I don't like asking. So I wouldn't even want to call to order food. Like if we have to order pizza and someone's like, oh, just take out the phone and call. Like, why? I don't want to be the one asking. It's hard. It's hard.
So when did this shift come from having that connection with God because you felt comfortable and you had that confidence that you could ask and he will answer? And then when did that stop happening?
I don't know. It was one time it was, and then after that it just wasn't. I just know that part existed. It was probably after my grandfather died.
Oh.
I would say when my grandfather died, a lot has changed in me. I was strong. I would say I was strong. When he died in 2008. I remember.
How old were you then?
I was 8. I didn't cry. I didn't do anything. I was strong. Yeah, everybody else crying. I got everybody. I'm strong. And it was probably a year and some after that I actually cried for the first time. And it was an event. We had a wedding in family, and some person decided.
Sorry, this is your dad's dad?
Yeah,
Okay.
my dad's dad. Some person decided, oh yeah, we're gonna take a family photo, so that's cool. And they put a chair, an empty chair.
Wow.
That would have represent right next to where my grandmother was sitting, and that's when it clicked for me. So I think that was either late 2009 or like 2010, and that was the first event that it really hit that, oh, my grandfather's gone. And, like, why would you put the chair? And I went out and I bawled. That was it. So from that moment, I think my life changed altogether, because anything that reminded me of him, even the slightest detail, it would make me cry. I remember we were driving and we passed a church. I have no connection to the church at all. It was an Anglican church, and we went there for a funeral when I was probably 6 or 7. And I recalled it because he gave me a snack. That's it. That's all. That's my only memory of it. And that made me cry. Or if I passed the hospital, because he died in the hospital, I'd cry. And it went on. Everybody's like, all right, yeah, this is going on so long. Because I was strong for probably so long. And I was 8.
Yeah.
So.
Were you really close to him?
I would say I was. I used to take his phone. He had a Nokia, one of those like 1190 Nokias. So I'd take it and I'd make music on it, or play Snake and thing. We watched TV. He got me the Incredibles coloring book. I really love the Incredibles. It's one of my animated favorites, so you got me that coloring book. I remember that. I spent a lot of time by my grandparents, so yeah, I would say we were really close. When he died, I think I took his watch. And it stopped working when I was in secondary school, but I took his watch. So yeah, I would say we were close. I think though what fully changed a dynamic in my life was we were at some service of sorts at this church, and a song played, and that gave me a memory of we made, so when he had his funeral, we made a DVD of the funeral, and the song was to the cross. I think that's what it is. And we were at this function, and I was with my dad, and that song played, and I was like, so that's the song on the funeral DVD. And I cried, and then he cried, and I think that's the last time I had a emotional connection to that emotion. Because then I know this is probably strange, but I kind of blamed myself for making my father cry. So then from then I was like, oh yeah, I shouldn't cry.
Oh.
And I'm probably not even a teenager yet. Probably 12, probably 13. So that impacted my life as well. I think that also, like, kind of shutting down those kind of emotions kind of also blocked me from asking for things as well. Because, like, yeah, I can do it myself, or I can figure it out, or I could find other ways to do it. I don't want to bother people.
I got you. So do you think it's because you care about people so much that you try to spare them from having to deal with certain things? So you try to not put that on them?
I've never thought of it like that. I don't know, actually. I do care about, like, people have their lives, they have time. Time is precious to people. Not everybody wants to deal with you, whatever. So I guess to some degree, maybe.
So how does that switch? Like, what goes into your mind, and what do you think, and how do you feel when you know that God is the I am that I am, and He is every single thing that you could possibly ever want and need, and He stands outside of time, and He always has that time for you, His son, that He called and chose before He even formed the foundation of the world, and He chose you to be in Him, and He is your Father. He who created heaven and earth and all that is within it, the creator of the galaxies, is your Father, and He chose you. He always has time for you. Knowing that, thinking that, how does that make you feel in terms of casting your cares upon Him because He cares?
It's still a struggle, mainly because I still can't get past the I'm asking for something. I also remember growing up, they will always tell you, don't beg. Don't beg for things. Or I do recall an event where somebody asked me if I wanted something, and I said yes. That was the wrong answer. The right answer was, I'm good. But I was honest to a fault. If I am hungry and someone says, you hungry? The answer is yes. And I think growing up out of that is no harder, because people are like, oh, so just say what you want. It's like, no, I'm good. Because when I was younger and I said what I want, that was the problem. Because, you got all this pride. But I think the innocence of a young child, there's a lot of, if you break that innocence, it's going to be hard for them to reconnect with that. So I don't know if that experience, I just remember that experience. I don't remember if that experience also ties into it, where it's like, okay, you have this option people are offering. Do you take it, or do you be all modest and humble and just reject it? So that, and not asking, I very much struggle even with understanding. I can rely on God. It's like reliance, expectations is hard.
What is that process like? What does it look like for you right now?
I'm still struggling right now. I think a lot of it came from my sickness too. Like, why me? Why am I the one to struggle? Why am I the one to go through this? It's strange. Why me? I remember how I got this sickness. I was kind of a good Samaritan in a sense. I remember hearing, there's this sickness going around. People are getting sick. My grandmother was sick. This is my mom's mom.
What sickness is this?
Chikungunya.
Okay.
Down by her have a lot of mosquitoes. So I should have been like, she has to come up here. No, I went there and I took care of her, and I was pretty fine for probably 2-3 days, and then I realized, oh, I'm not fine. And through chikungunya took me out of school, and then I was fine. I think chikungunya happened like in October. By February, my body decided it's not fine, and I remember I was at school and it was a nice chill day. Teacher didn't come to school, so we just get to chill. A lot of students love that sort of day, and for me, it's like, okay, I can write, I can do all these different things. I mean, I was still bullied a lot in school, but it's a chill day. Everybody kind of happy, so no one's really bothering you. I remember I was sitting poorly because I had 2 chairs and I was stretched out, and then lunch came. I could not walk.
This is in secondary school?
Secondary school.
Okay.
This was 2014. I was 14. I stood up and I was like, this is not normal. Where's this pain coming from?
Yeah.
And it was in 1 foot. And I hopped I was in Full Farm. So the Full Farm block is like at the front of the school. The music room is at the back of the school.
Mm-hmm.
So I hopped through the whole school to get to the music room. The music room was like my infirmary at times. It was the place I go. It was a safe room for me. Mm-hmm. So I hopped there and then called my uncle. Called my parents. I contacted my uncle. My uncle came for me, took me my father's mom. Actually, I had to be lifted through the school. That was very embarrassing for me at the time. So I don't like asking for things.
Yeah.
I can do this on my own. I can't do it on my own. And I had to get lifted by a student, walk through the halls, being viewed by other students. And then I had to be lifted into the vehicle. We went, and I was like, you faking this? You for real? I was like, yeah, I'm for real. I cannot, this is not something I would fake. And my grandmother, my grandmother has this thing where anything is wrong, she would say, she would start like, oh gosh, you getting dead off. So yeah, and I remember I can't go home because my parents have to work, and my sister, she was in college. So
she would have been like 17, 18.
Yeah. She would be 17. So like, yeah, they're busy, so somebody has to take care of me because I can't walk. So we went to doctors, and it wasn't really, they can't tell you what's wrong. And I remember we had a date for probably March 20 something, or March 14th or something like that. And March 9th was the day my mom was tired. She couldn't enjoy her birthday on March 8th because of me. They had to take care of me. I had to be lifted and all of that. At some points I had to be fed. I didn't like that. I like to do it by myself. And
so you can move your hands, you can move your arms.
It would just attack some certain part. My legs were just done, but it would attack other parts, whatever, swelling. And we couldn't understand why. It just happened. So it took me to the hospital. I spent a week. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. All these tests ran. So they sent me home. They sent me home because I was relatively fine. I was good. I could do things till I got home. The moment I arrived at my house, my body shut right back down. My mom told my dad to lift me out of the vehicle, and my dad said no. He's not doing that. I'm not bringing him home for this to go on. So they took me back. Took me back to the hospital. Spent another week, and that's when they came up with the diagnosis of juvenile idiopathic systemic arthritis, which is what they call stills for young people, with the hope you will grow out of it. Okay. That sounds good that you grow out of it. Well, it didn't sound good at the time. I was in pain. And we had to try all these different medications. And it just sudden. Why me? Why now? What's my life gonna be like? What choices that led to this? Is this what my, had I not gone to help my grandmother, would I be like this? It's like I was doing something good, so why am I impacted this way negatively? I think that's a question that popped up during time, because it's like I have to adapt. I spent that entire year in and out of hospital. I could not go into Fifth Farm. Well, I could. I actually, the teachers wanted me to go into Fifth Farm. They knew I was brilliant. They know I could catch up quickly. I was sometimes doing better than people who were in school while I was in the hospital, because I get notes. I had people write notes. So I could catch up. But my parents said no. He's going to do full farm again. I was very angry. I said, no, I don't like school that much. I don't want to be here for another year. It was probably the best decision ever made to do full farm again. I got to be in class. I got to meet new people. It was hard to connect with people because, well, I had a class for how many of years, and I was bullied a lot. So I didn't really, I'm an extrovert, so I like to talk with people, whatever, but I'm shy at times because I know that people can be mean. And I went to this class where I knew practically no one, and I'm older than them, and they are all friends or thing. One of the people in class I knew kinda because he was a friend of a friend. He didn't like me, which is funny. And then my cousin's brother, I call him my cousin, although we're not connected, but I'll call him my cousin. He was in that class. So I gravitated towards him because I knew. And that friend that didn't like me very much, he's his friend. And we became friends. I'm closer to him than I am to my cousin. He became very, 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 very close. And you go through the history, realize, oh, our parents know each other. They're close. We became so close. I would say he was one of my best friends in school. And because I'm fighting this new sickness. I just got glasses. It's like everything's going wrong. It's like I can't rely on the people I know because they're not in my class. But he stepped up. He realized I'm not so bad of a person. I just talk a lot, but he got accustomed. I was like, all right, cool. And I was also in the choir, so I had the choir as like a family. So anything that went wrong while I was at school, I could rely on them. Most people aren't Christian, but they knew I was Christian. I think that impacted a lot of how people interacted around me. That didn't mean that there wasn't bullying or whatever in that class. Actually, my cousin's girlfriend at the time didn't like me. She didn't like me because I came out of nowhere and now I'm taking on the attention. Well, I didn't know anybody, so I connected. So a lot of people in the class didn't like me. And that's fine. I didn't really care. I really just wanted to get out of school. But I grew to love school, mainly because of those friends I made in the repeat year, as well as the choir. I think the choir was life for me because that was where we went to all these different events. I had another cousin who came in school. He's like 3 years younger than me. I brought him into the choir and stuff. We traveled. We did all these kind of things. So, and I'm very expressive through art. So I'm a musician. I directed the choir. I became the assistant director of the Church and Party Choir. Yeah, that was a good run. Even like choices for girlfriends, it was rooted in choir because these are the people I know. These are the people I'm around. Best people that I can still rely on today. I knew them because they were in the choir. So they became a strong foundation in influence. I still probably want to ask many things from them, but I got accustomed to being able to share with them and they share with me. Actually, one of the people in the choir inspired me to start writing. She said, no, you need to start writing. You need to start writing. And they don't like to read, but they read my book. They read my first book. I can't read that book. It was terrible, but they read the book. I wrote a little bit about my life and the experiences. And then I also wrote this fictional story. And I felt the support from them. So they influenced. So I would say the choice to repeat the year really helped. And then when I got on Fifth Farm, it was fun because I was doing less subjects. Being bullied, teachers also kind of have a way. A lot of teachers liked me. They know that they knew who my father was, so they understood. Like everyone know, for me growing up, everyone knows who my dad is. He's Derek Ward. You mentioned Derek Ward. Oh, that's a pastor. That was from Rose Hill. So everyone knew my dad. So going to school, that was also a thing. They know you're the pastor's son. They know this and that. So I was accustomed to it. It wasn't weird. That was normal. But in that, teachers looked out for me. If I'm waiting for a bus and teachers see me, they pick me up and I get right to school. So I had teachers that had my back. And there are also cases where there are teachers that put me out of class. Not for anything I did. I was bullied. I was a target. It's easier to remove one student than to remove 5.
Yeah.
And in that one student, if they're not thriving in the classroom setting, you can help them in other ways. I know that now. At the time, I didn't think of it like that. Why are you putting me out? But that helped me kind of have this rage, this anger of why am I targeted? What can I do? So I went and did the CXC. It was math CXC. I think I did it private, and I got a 1 with 3 A's. And I was ready to show off. Like, I mean, the teacher did still help me. She provided resources and whatnot for me to do outside the classroom. So I was very proud of that because I felt like I was disadvantaged in the class because everyone's going to be disruptive and I can't learn and I have to be put out. So I would say that in the experiences, you can also say God was there for me too. Like, I had people who were in my life that were able to help.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, like, where do you see God in your entire story?
Yeah.
I mean, like, from the time that you first got diagnosed with Stills, and even now, do you see God in your life?
Yeah,
In the midst of
I would
everything?
say he's there. There are times where it is so painful. There are no words, and it's like, okay. I'm lucky enough that sometimes when I fall asleep, the next day the pain is gone. There are people who don't have that luxury. I have people around me, people that I believe God put in my life for reasons. There are people who pray for me often. I think he's there. I can tell you one story where I know that had to be God.
So tell us the story.
I
Because I really need to know.
I was working at KM2 at the time, and I remember I got really sick. I had applied for this university to go to Jamaica to do acting, and I got really sick. So I couldn't go to work. And I got an email that week saying, oh, the exam is on Tuesday. I was like, well, if I was going to KM, I wouldn't even be able to do this exam. And I had to provide pieces. I had to act and do recordings, whatever. And I did. And I remember I did the exam. I did terrible in the exam. And the reason I did terrible was I ran out of time. There wasn't enough time. And the system went wrong. The system shut down. I remember feeling so bad. I was like, how? I felt like this was the moment. Like, what are the odds that the test come when I'm sick? And I reached out to the people and they gave me a chance to do it again. And I did it. And I felt like there's no way that this is a coincidence. Nothing makes sense. This has to be God. Nothing else makes sense. And from then it was a case of, no, I'm just listening. And I remember getting that email saying, you've been accepted. The problem was the finances, but you've been accepted. So that was an indicator that God is there. There's no doubt about it. And that's just one instance. There are many other instances. It's like you need a job. And I remember it's like the struggle to find work. And it's like, what am I going to do? KM2 rejected me the first time, which is strange to say. They don't reject people. They're always asking. And I remember receiving that email, and I was also thankful that I received the email because you don't really get emails back saying, oh, you're not accepted. And they told me, yeah, we're not looking for you at this time. I felt defeated, but I still felt better knowing. And it's like, God, I need a job. I need something to do. I need work.
You asked?
Yeah, I always ask, I don't pray as often as I would like, but when I pray, I ask for like healing. I will always ask, prayer of my grandparents, my family, my friends, the church. So there are things I will ask when I do pray. But But it's like, geez, I really need a job. And KM2 did reach back out months later. I'm like, you still looking for work? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I took that job. It was not the best, but it wasn't the worst either. I can say I enjoyed the skills I learned working there. You learn punctuality, politeness, how to speak. There are things that the job gave me, even though it was not the greatest job. It's an entry job. It's not the greatest job. And even leaving there is like, okay, what am I going to do next? I left because I was sick. I was really, really sick. I was like, I started losing a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And then I had probably kind of the worst experiences in my sickness yet. And it was at a time where everything's confusing. And it's like, there's nothing I can do. I can't heal myself. And the medication isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
So I think God pulled me through that, because I was able to stabilize, and while I didn't immediately find work, I was able to do something with my time that I get to rebuild on my life. It also helps that I'm in the environment I'm in. Harvest kind of provided me a group of people that changed my life for the better. And in that group is 4 of us. It's me, my brother-in-law, and it was Michael, and then it was Shadi. And just in case, we work in the tech booth and whatnot. Oh, you guys play video games? I play video games, and that's how we started. And they've discipled me through a lot. I suffered from confidence through my experiences. COVID really changed a lot for me as well. My confidence and a lot of my energy and my being around people, that has changed from COVID. So I'm not as confident as I once was. I will not do the things I would have done before COVID now. And I had to relearn that confidence. And it's inspiring when they can say, okay, we got your back. You need us to pray for today, or let's do a devotion. So that environment is very helpful. And yeah, we brought in the group now. We've had more people, but the idea about it is we use video games to disciple. They help me develop confidence altogether. You playing video games, I play a tank. And being the tank, I got to protect the team.
I know what you're talking about, but
I got to protect the team, but I have a fear. And they're like, we understand your fear, but we are here to support you. And I look at it from that aspect. And if you look at it from the fact that they're behind me like that, you can relate it to life. How many times we feel like we don't know, or we're scared, and God is like, I got you. I have you. Do it. So the environment, the culture, I enjoy it. So much so that after being in that group, I went back to play with other friends, and I did not enjoy it. Even the same games is like, I don't want to be around these people.
There's some people that grow up and it's like they were saved out of their mother's womb.
Yeah.
Are you one of those? Or was there a point in time when you said, Lord, I'm giving you my heart. Like I'm choosing you. Well, you chose me first, but I'm choosing to follow you.
I would say to some degree, I would have thought I was saved out of the womb, because like that's all I know. I've never had the thought that I would leave church and never come back. There are times where I question, am I really saved? Jesus, like, am I really on the right path? And there are times like, okay, I don't know if I am. And then I would say I got baptized really young. I don't think that I knew what I was doing. I just did it.
How old were you?
I was probably 13.
Okay.
And at that time I was like, okay, everybody else is getting baptized.
Oh.
So I don't think for me that it counts. It might count. I don't know. I got to ask God more about that. But for me, it was like, okay, everybody's getting baptized. I guess I can get baptized too. And I was really excited. Like, especially right after I got baptized, I was like, I went to school, like, oh yeah, I got baptized. Yeah. So, but I don't think it was for the right reasons. No, that I'm older. Perhaps it counts. But I always question, was it the right choice at the time? there are times where I'm like, okay, God, I am not very consistent with this routine. You know my heart. I would read the Bible, read this and that, and it's like, okay, I fall off. If I miss one day, it's like, oh, I fell off, and then I spiral until I start back. So I always tell my friends, like, yeah, just make sure y'all keep me accountable that I'm doing this. So I'm trying to make more effort to be intentional. Struggling still. You know, they don't expect perfection, but is the effort. I struggle though with it. Pray and reading the Bible, that's very. I guess a connection is hard, but there are things that I would reread because I find comfort in it. Like there are passages in Corinthians, I think it was First Corinthians, where there's a line that says, "When I am weak, I am strong." In connection with you have God. I found that one recently. I think that was like October last year, and I really connected with it because oftentimes with being sick, I am weak. I can't do the things I could before. I have permanent damage in my wrists and my ankle. I can't pick up cups and do things the way I used to. And even so, I can still do things. It could be a different story. I could probably not have hands or whatever, but I have a God that's fighting for me. I know that. There are times where things are hard and I can't do it by myself. So I know that I have to lean. Even if asking is hard, I get past that eventually. Probably 3 days after not doing it, but it's hard. And then I live with my parents. My father's a pastor. He planted a church. So it's like, I don't want to talk to my dad. I don't want to talk to my dad about things. That's where small group was a good idea. Because the idea was I would not be in the same small group as my dad. And I tried to be in every other small group he was not in. I was in small group with him before. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be in a small group you're not in. It's easier for me to share. And then that fell true. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to be in a small group then because I can't get to the other ones and I don't want to be in yours. And then eventually it was like, okay, fine. It is what it is. So now I'm in a small group with my dad. It's like, okay.
How is that like?
It's for the most part good. He has a lot of knowledge. He shares. I can kind of understand. It works, even though there are things that I would be very uncomfortable sharing with him there. So, yeah. I guess that's some things you will tell others and you would receive from others, but not your parents.
I mean, it's like it's your dad.
Yeah, it's my dad.
Like I get it's your dad. I get it. So how do you see your relationship and God growing as you progress to keep that connection with him, or rather revive that connection with him?
Honestly, I want to become. I don't want to be a pastor, but if I was called, I would answer.
Why did you want to become a pastor?
Because my dad's a pastor, which is kind of the reason he didn't want to be a pastor. But I think I've inherited the gift of the gap from my dad. I inherited the ability to talk, and I can teach. I understand how people learn. I kind of figure out how people learn things, and I like to connect with people that way. But I don't necessarily want to be a pastor. But if I was called to do it, I think I would embrace it, or maybe a little reluctantly at first, because I know how it is. I know the stresses of leadership. I don't think I'm confident enough yet. But I guess God doesn't call the people who are qualified. He qualified the people he calls. So I would know that even if I don't feel like I'm ready, I would do it. But I need to be a little bit more committed and intentional in my reading and whatnot. It comes down to community too. And being in the community with that same group is very encouraging. One of the guys, he kind of keeps me accountable. He says, you know what, if you're reading this passage, I'm going to read it with you. And then we will share. So I have that. I think I need to do it more often. If it so leads me to ministry in that in that regard, I would go. Right now, I think my ministry is the tech side. I love to play piano sometimes. I don't necessarily love it all the time. I don't mind worshiping on the worship team. That's where I am probably best fit. But if I had to choose like how best I like to serve is probably dealing with the production side of things. Well, I'm a creative overall, so I just like all of it, whether it's production or playing or acting or even speaking. I don't mind any of it. So I definitely think going forward that my path will be along those lines. If I'm called for something totally outside the box, I would probably be afraid at first, but I can trust that I'll learn how to do it and get it done. Not necessarily because I have the aptitude to do it, but I know that God will be able to help me. You might struggle, yes, but I've learned things that I didn't think I would ever be able to learn. And I know that's not because I'm just intelligent or brilliant. Yes, I am those things, but it's not only me. I am brilliant and I can't do many things that some people who can get done easily. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if I don't have a particular skill set, that's okay. I can probably develop it through prayer and spending time with God.
I'm really grateful that you took the time to sit down and share. I can relate with a lot of the things that you've shared. Like asking is not easy for me. I've gone through a period of not wanting to ask God for certain things because it's kind of like being disappointed in the past. Mm-hmm. And so not really having that confidence to ask, but through continuing to seek him and really learning more about who he is and how he sees me, that has helped as well. So I'm really grateful that you've shared what you've shared, because I think that there are other people that can relate as well. Yeah. So thank you for taking the time to sit with us. And I do pray that as you continue your journey of life, that God continues to reveal himself to you, that you do draw closer to him, that you do become a lot more consistent. I know it's a challenge for everybody to stay consistent in the word and spending that time with him, because life be lifing.
Definitely.
But I do pray that that gets better and it improves, and he just continues to help you to see yourself more the way that he sees you. Thanks again.
Pleasure.